But today, we're going to talk to Lynn McDowell. Lynn McDowell has been with the conference, well, she'll have to tell us how long. But Lynn, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How long have you been at the conference?
Oh, since 2012.
So you're one of the seasoned members of the conference office. There's a few of us.
As long as you don't say I'm salty, that's okay.
No, just seasoned. You have a big portfolio. It's plan giving and trust services and philanthropy. Is that correct?
That's right.
Tell us about both of those, because they're a little bit different.
Well, planned giving involves what I like to call smart giving, tax-efficient giving. And so there's different ways to do that. And so I have specialized, actually started out in the U.S., where they have an official way to become a specialist in that.
Is it quite a bit different in Canada, or is it pretty much the same?
There's a lot of overlap.
Okay.
And over the past 12 years, I've learned, which ones are most cost-effective for Canada.
You're also an author. I know that you write a lot for The Messenger. You write a lot for some other publications. Is that because of the planned giving, or is that because of the philanthropy?
Oh, that's a good question. I do have a monthly piece in The Messenger, and that's not about philanthropy per se. It's trying to keep people abreast of what's happening with our First Nations work in Maskwacis.
Oh, okay.
And but I have been doing some other writing. A piece is coming out in Liberty in July. So
right now, when Camp Meeting is on, if they get their Liberty magazine, was there an article in Adventist World at some point?
Adventist Journey.
That's the
in
one.
April.
Oh, okay.
To which I worked with Christelle Boca, who's the staff writer for the NAD.
Oh, okay. So you do some writing. You also do some collaborating. The philanthropy. Now, what does that mean?
Philanthropy is not necessarily planned giving.
Yes, that's why I know there's a difference. That's how come I wanted to find out.
There's a distinction, yes. And we've done 2 capital campaigns since I started. One to build the high school in Maskwacis, and the other to build the Mamawe-Toscandin Center on the reserve, so that the congregation there, the little flock, can have a base to serve their community and a place to worship and grow.
So that's your philanthropy part.
Right.
Right now, I mean, that school has been built for several years now, and they're working in that. And the center, what is the center?
The Mamawe-Toscandin Center is phase 2 of the conference's long-term plan for working.
And we were doing that at Camp Meeting last year, too. We were promoting it then, right?
Yes, we kicked off the campaign 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And we have actually reached our goal.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. But in the intervening time, because of unprecedented inflation, we have a little bit more money to raise, but we did exceed our goal, actually, and it's been a wonderful thing.
Good. So when does that project really get started on the ground?
We are hopeful that we can actually put in the footings, well, actually, I guess technically pilings rather than footings, this fall.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's wonderful.
Well, I know that it's been a good thing to have the school out there. Wasn't it on the news in June or May?
Yes. The CBC responded to a media release that we sent out, and they were very impressed by what they saw at Mamawe-Toscandin Native School.
I did watch it, and it was specific to something. Well, it was quite specific to one girl, maybe, or a couple of girls, and the shop person, the teacher that is in the shop.
Yeah, we are actually groundbreaking in what we're doing out at the school there.
Oh.
The dual credit carpentry program is something that Alberta Education recognizes, and you know, I would imagine they'd be happy if more people did it.
Yes,
but we
yeah.
are the only school that has that on campus at a high school. And that shaves a year off of kids who want to go on to become
like if they went to
carpenters.
SAIT or NAIT or one of those places
Right.
that teaches carpentry,
Yeah.
Polytechnic.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing thing. And you have a teacher there that has a lot of good background. Do you remember anything about him? Can you tell us a little bit about the teacher that's doing that?
Jonathan Belinsky is a little dynamo, and he's very forward-looking and strategic in how he's building the industrial arts program there.
So it's a whole program that he's
It's a
building.
whole program, not just carpentry, but he is a Red Seal journeyman carpenter himself, and he has a permanent Alberta teaching certificate, which is a very rare combination.
And we're lucky to have him. We're very fortunate to have him.
We're very fortunate.
That's amazing. Now, you know, we're going to go back to the planned giving portion of your job for just a few minutes, because I know that you're launching something very soon, like around camp meeting time. And I would like to have everybody know what it is so that they can look for it during camp meeting.
Well, you keep your ear to the ground. That's a good thing. Yes, we have had the Wills at Camp program since 2013. And in that time, by the end of camp meeting this year, we will have written more than 500 wills. And
Since you've been here?
Since I've been here.
Okay.
Since we launched the camp, the program.
So it wasn't at the very beginning.
No.
Okay.
I launched that the second year that I
Okay.
was here. And that gives a free will, net free will to people. And because this is primarily a ministry.
Yes.
I know, having gone through the unfortunate situation of losing family members without wills, how painful that is and how much stress that causes. So we want to make sure that that doesn't have to happen to anybody. And so we don't want the cost to be a barrier. What we have discovered is we have outstripped, or the demand has outstripped our capacity to help everyone who
during camp meeting time.
During camp meeting time. We also subsidize wills during the year if people work with me, but there's still a cost.
Certainly.
So what we have found is an online program that was designed by a lawyer and is licensed throughout Canada.
Okay, before we go into that, I want to talk a little bit more about if they call the conference and set an appointment with you or with Rupa, who works with you, they can come to the conference.
Yes.
Can they use their own lawyers, or do they use the one that you provide? How does that work?
The way we're set up currently is they can use any lawyer, the lawyer of their choice.
Oh, okay.
I or Rupa take the instructions, and Rupa is also certified through the General Conference
That's
for what
good.
she does.
Yeah.
And so we can help people do the instructions, answer questions, because I have more time than a lawyer that they're going to be paying money to.
Right.
So I can help them through their process. And sometimes, family situations can be complex.
Yes.
So that's one of the benefits of working with me or another lawyer, that they may pay for. So I can help in that way, and the conference can then underwrite the cost after they've paid the lawyer, send me the bill, and the conference can reimburse $300 for a couple and $200 for an individual.
Thank you again. And if you want to have any interaction with Lynn, she's at camp meeting all week. She's usually with Rupa. They're working on wills together. They're doing things. Just come to the office and ask for Lynn McDowell, and she'll be glad to talk to you about anything that pertains to wills, planned giving. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and remember, Friday between 1:30 and 2:30 in the main auditorium, if you want to see how a will is done online, and they're going to do some training, so it won't be so, how do you say it, a little bit too much for you. It might be simpler after you've gone through this training. So remember, Friday, 1:30 to 2:30 in the main auditorium to do the wills online. Thank you for listening today. So, Lynn, you told me that we can all do wills. We all should do wills. And I know that you've had some experience, and you have a little testimony that maybe tell us about what's going to be shown shortly.
Okay. I recently was working with Shelley, Nolan, Freesland, whose father and mother left a gift to the church, and it was unrestricted, which means we could have used it for anything. And what we like to do is I like to work with the families to make sure that they feel what we're doing with their parents' gift is appropriate and matches their personality and their interests in the conference's work. So Shelley and I got to talking, and after we talked, and I asked her if she'd be interested to share, and she agreed. Her experience, and she agreed.
That will be interesting for everybody because all of us have a little bit of that situation, and we have that in our thoughts. Where is this going to go? So thank you for having her do that for you.
When Mom and Dad set up their will years ago, they had designated part of their estate to go to the Alberta Conference. They had been very generous supporters of the church all of their lives and were committed to continuing that through to the end. Mom passed away more than a dozen years ago, and Dad passed away more recently. The Alberta Conference got in touch to explore if there was a particular area of ministry that might best match Mom and Dad's interests. And that was something that had never occurred to me, so I was very appreciative of the conference's thoughtfulness. In the course of having these conversations and telling stories about Mom and Dad's history, we realized there was this connection to Namawi. And also that it was perfect timing to make another contribution to the expansion of the ministry through the new Community Bridge project. So now students and graduates of the school will have a place where they can continue to connect with the church. And Mom and Dad, once more, will have a small part in continuing to touch the lives of young people. No one could ask for a better legacy.